It's season 2, episode 26. Oh my God, how many of these have I done? Of the Hall of Fame show, and I lost Evan, so I needed to get the greatest triathlete ever to come out of a place. Now, I don't know how great this makes you, Glenn, because it's also the chicken wing capital of the world. So I question your cholesterol level. We're going to talk about drug use in sports. So maybe when you get tested, is it sort of
cholesterol is not a performance enhancing drug, so I'm pretty much clear of that. If I have to pee in a cup after a race, if I do something spectacular and there's some questions involved. So yeah, no, chicken wings are good.
Awesome. Glenn is my co-host on the Classic Sports Review. If you haven't checked that out, please do. It's a blatant self-promotion, and hell, I've earned that. And Glenn, so basically you're just going to listen to me yammer about Hall of Fame related news. And we've got some regular segments. Evan will not be here, so he always does a weekly thing called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of Weekly Sports. I won't try to take that from him, but I will do his death march. We always look at the people who died. He's a lot more sensitive than I am. So
now, am I supposed to cue the Queen, Another One Bites the Dust for that segment, ring in the music, or no?
Good. That would actually be better than, I suppose I should be more sensitive about that. But I mean, hey, it's in most cases we're celebrating their lives. We're not mocking it. In one case, in one of the people we'll talk about will be pretty tragic because of youth. But if you've lived till 90, and I don't weep for you. I will celebrate what you've done.
No, if you get over 75, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
If you're getting 90, 100, if you're getting to like 105, 110, you're probably waiting for the sweet relief of death.
That might be. It depends on what's on TV that day.
This is true. This is true.
So just going to open up with something very basic. The San Francisco 49ers have done their Hall of Fame class, adding John Taylor and Patrick Willis. So that brings their franchise hall up to 30. I love franchise Hall of Fames. I think it's a great way to also get the larger Hall of Fames, i.e. in this case, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, to sort of recognize what you have. Patrick Willis, that helps him get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But he's earned this. The 49ers have, I think people forget how long they've been around.
And how great they've been.
But they were garbage for 20 years, 30 years.
I mean, I'm going back to my conscious observing of football, and you're talking 80s, mid 80s when I started to get into watching football, and it was the 49ers. It was Joe Montana, it was Rice, it was Roger Craig, it was Tom Rathman, it was that whole group. And again, as a Bills fan, you were jealous because the 49ers were always in it. And then finally, when the Bills came to their peak, it was always Chris Berman year after year. Okay, we're going to have the 49ers Bills Super Bowl, which never happened. But yeah, for my early part of watching football, the 49ers were it.
Yeah.
Which surprised me that John Taylor wasn't already in.
Yeah, it's a little surprising when you look at that. Usually franchise halls don't have any egregious snubs. And there's really none here, but it's nice to see them continue to do this regularly.
And it's good for the fans.
It is. As I finished, and you gave me some kind suggestions on my all-time top 50 Buffalo Sabres, and something that I'll certainly look back at to when I review that. But as I was putting it all together, you look at their Hall of Fame, which has been colossally inconsistent. I don't think they've had a new induction since 2014.
No, and I don't know whether it's the Buffalo Sabres Alumni Association that's been taking a break because of that, or if they're trying to establish something a little better to put the Hall of Fame, because it was just this little corner in the lobby of the arena. So I don't know if they're going to be. Well, it used to be. I think they did more renovations, so I don't know where it is anymore. But that might be something that they're going to deal with. But yeah, that's been a question mark that was probably about a month ago was raised on local radio, that they raised that point where they haven't really been putting anyone in. And that's usually been the Alumni Association that takes the bull by the horns for that.
Okay. Yeah, so it's sort of interesting looking at that. So congratulations to both of those individuals. A new segment I started just a couple of weeks ago because like I realized I had one segment and then Evan had two. So then usually I just go off on these half-cocked rants.
The founder was jealous he was getting cut out on airtime.
Well, I wasn't necessarily getting cut out on airtime, but I wasn't always consistent with what I was doing. So I thought, when you're talking about halls of fame every week, some weeks you've got so much to talk about, and some weeks you got nothing. And that's
right.
This is not Hall of Fame season, really, once we go from spring to early fall.
No, and for sports in general, if it wasn't for the pandemic, we'd already be into baseball, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I am starting to get a little sports fatigued with still having hockey. Well, hockey just finished, and basketball going on, and the baseball, and then you're going to have the Olympics. So there's really no downtime as far as the actual on the field play this year.
Right.
And I mean, we have COVID to thank for all that.
Thanks, China? Oh, I don't know. But actually, no, but that segment, actually, this is going to sort of like bring into COVID. It's sort of became, rather than my rant, I didn't want to say Kirk soapbox, so it's Kirk shitbox. I stand on top of a box of shit, and I just say whatever the hell's on my mind. And
we need to get a T-shirt made.
Kirk shitbox?
Yes. Put it on the website. We got a graphic designer on the team, don't we?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I don't know how many T-shirts I'm going to sell that says Kirk shitbox on it.
But the shitbox.
If you don't build it, they will never come.
You beat me to that one.
Yes. So I'm watching game one of the NBA Finals, and actually, here's pseudo rant number one, because I'm watching it on the NBA. I have the NBA login.
Okay.
So I don't watch it on ABC. I'm just sort of like, well, it is ABC feed, but the halftime is not their halftime. So it's Young MC performing. Hey, here's something to all of you. If you're a young artist, don't put young in your name or kid in your name. You're gonna get old. And then
you bust a move, right?
Yes.
That was his song. Okay, yeah.
And he can't bust a move too much. He's 54.
Geriatric MC by now.
Or middle-aged MC.
Because you're getting close to 55.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So shit. Yeah. I mean, Young MC can start asking for the early bird special now.
Right.
But he's a little heavier in the midsection, so he doesn't bust a move too much. So he still can sing, but you don't know it's him at all. He looks nothing like he did before. I mean, the only exception to the rule is Kid Rock, who I think, not that he just looks kind of the same dirtbag he's always looked like.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in his late 40s. He doesn't look much different, but I don't know if that's not necessarily a compliment either.
No, he looked old when he came onto the scene.
Right. I mean, even little Bow Wow figured out, shit, I'm a teenager now. I'm going to drop a little.
Yeah.
That's my minor rant. But as I'm watching this game, the Suns arena is packed. So I guess in Arizona, you can have 100% capacity. I didn't see anyone wearing masks. Now, I don't want to go into a whole thing about mask wearing. I hate sort of telling people what to do, but I'm a rule follower at the same time. So it's an interesting line. I sort of go with this, but I'm watching 100% capacity. I was trying to see if I could see any masks. I didn't see any on, maybe some that they had, but the cheerleaders all had it. The team all had it. Like when they were on the bench, like pick a damn lane, right? I mean, like no wonder people are confused.
No, you're absolutely right. And I don't know whether, like, you're well aware that we've got the Blue Jays in Buffalo.
Right.
And when it first opened up, you had your masked sections and then your unmasked sections with the vaccine people. And then once we hit whatever percentage, we were allowed to go in there without masks. Now, I don't know whether... Well, let me pause. The employees, ushers, concession stands, ticket takers, they all had to wear masks the whole time. So I don't know whether that's doing business or businesses have to adhere to that, or whether these people just did not want to get vaccines or what's going on. But you're absolutely right. That is so inconsistent. to where you have all these fans in either in an arena, in a baseball stadium, when the NFL opens up in the football stadiums where fans do not have to wear masks, but the employees of the franchise has to wear a mask.
It doesn't.
What's not being told here?
I don't know, but this segues me to the other thing. So Juvenile just came up with Vax, was Vax Your Ass or Vax Your, I don't know, some song, some rapping where he raps and just, he's so proud to get vaccinated and he's telling other people to do so. Look, at this point, as we're recording this in July, people who are going to get vaccinated have already done it. And people who are anti-vaxxers,
not going to get it.
Going to. Juvenile, you're not going to convince anyone to do a goddamn thing. I have muted so many people on Facebook on both sides of this.
Sure.
Because I'm just annoyed as all hell. You're not convincing anybody at this point. You're either a whiny virtue signaler who I can't stand, or B, you're a conspiracy theorist, and I can't stand you either.
Right. The only thing that pissed me off about the whole thing was Biden 70% by July 4th. And then I don't know whether it was Anheuser-Busch or one of the beer companies said, okay, America, if you get to 70%, we're going to give out free beer. I'm like, son of a bitch, you motherfuckers better get to 70% so I could get my free beer. Well, as the weeks kept going on, well, no, we're not going to get to 70%. I think we got to like 69 or 68. And I'm like, damn it, you anti-vaxxers cost me free beer. I mean, if as Americans, we can't get behind a push to get free beer, what's the point? What are we going to come together for?
Well, you're not. Your country's broken.
I know. And as a Canadian, I have no problem with you saying that.
Not because again, we're so goddamn perfect. I almost went on a political rant too, but I've decided not to.
It's your show.
I've done political rants before, and usually it's me talking about Trudeau and how much I hate him. Justin, I cry during sex, Trudeau. Which isn't too often because, I don't know if you know this, his wife left him.
Well, does Melania Trump know this? Because she kept giving him the Google eyes during whatever summit they were at.
Who's doing that?
Melania Trump was giving Justin Trudeau the googly eyes.
Well, I mean, like
come hither, Google eyes.
They don't acknowledge that they actually separated, but
okay.
They have for 2 years. I know people in security. They have not lived in the same house for 2 years.
Oh, okay. So it's just a sham marriage to keep the country together.
I don't see why it's even necessary at this point. I mean, for a lot of people, Trudeau's like the whole vaccine. They have people who I'm an anti-Trudeau axer. So I'm not an annoying guy, and I'm not going to be able to convince anybody.
And I never understood why our political leaders in the top positions have to be married. I mean, it's like there has to be a first lady, or there has to be. I mean, I don't get it.
Well, if I understand correctly, I think the United States had one president who was unmarried, I believe.
Well, like in the 18 somethings, way back when.
Right.
So yeah, I
don't know. I don't know why that's I never really thought about that. But I mean, I don't think it would affect him too much. Screw it. I'm gonna go on my political rant anyway, since he's not.
I know I'd be able to get it out of you.
Yeah. All right. So for those who didn't come here for politics, sorry, fast forward 5 minutes.
10 minutes.
I'm gonna keep it at 5. I'm gonna try to keep it at 5. So Canada, we're certainly not perfect. As for those who are not aware, we've got, I don't want to call it a scandal because this is something that Canada's acknowledged a long time. And what that is in a lot of older Catholic churches, there were burial grounds essentially of kids. And these were First Nations kids who were forced to go to school against their will, or forced to go to a Catholic school against their will, to be more specific. And this went on for, oh God, started in the late 1800s. And I think it's only stopped in the 1970s. I might be off on that. So this is not something that Canada doesn't teach. I don't want to say that whether they teach or not. I don't remember being taught this in school, but I do remember like 25 years ago, the CBC even doing a fictionalized movie about this. And CBC is funded by the government. So it's not like Canada is saying, hey, this never happened. Also, restitution was paid out to families. Not a lot, but it was something. Now, we just came out with a brand new governor general to replace one who got fired basically because she had a toxic work environment. Kamala Harris. Only
no comment.
I've been working on a new Kamala impression too. Ask me if I have pocket aces.
Do you have pocket aces?
Pocket aces. like ace, like with the letter A. No, A was for Apple and J is for Jack's pocket aces. That's it.
Very good.
Thank you. And I've actually said this before on the show. Kamala, you got to work on that damn cackle.
You're not fond of the cackle?
No, I mean, like, because every time she does it, that means she doesn't know the answer.
It's probably a tell.
Probably. Christ. But anyway, so we got rid of a governor general. Now, the governor general, for those who are non-Canadian and non-British at all, it's the most worthless position in the entire government system. What it is, it's the representative of Canada to the Queen. Now, I live in Barbados, where we just got rid of that. They just got rid of that this year. And it's not because they're anti-British. They love Britain. Britain is 90% of their tourism dollar. But it's a way of saying, hey, this is not who we are anymore. We're not beholden to a monarchy. We are an independent nation. So Trudeau, in his infinite stupidity, Captain Blackface, here's what he decided to do. So we have now the first ever Indigenous person as a governor general, because this is really all about healing. Okay, wouldn't this be the perfect time, as a lot of people are anti-colonial or whatever the hell you have it or want to call it? Maybe now we get rid of it. We spend $35 million a year on a governor general because we have one for each province.
Oh, wow.
And all this stuff. And as my dad so eloquently put it, I know that sounds sarcastic, but it's the funniest thing that I always thought. He says, what does a governor general do? Picture this in a German accent. I can't do his accent. What do they do? They decide what damn color napkins to put out when the Queen decides to part here.
So it's the ultimate patronage job.
It totally is. So, I mean, like, wouldn't this be the perfect time to sort of like say, you know, at this point, as we're moving forward and becoming a brand new Canada, we could get rid of this whole archaic system beholden to Britain. You think Britain would care? The British people? No. They wouldn't give a shit. And it's not, and you're not being anti-British. No one here in Barbados is anti-British because they want their money.
Right.
You know, right. It's not about that at all. It's about saying, okay, this part of the whole thing is dead. That's it. End scene.
Okay, that was less than 5 minutes. Very good.
Less than 5 minutes. So, a regular segment I also have here is called Elevator Up, Elevator Down. And what this is, Glenn, it's where I envision at all these various halls of fame. It's this great building, and once you get to the top, you're led into the greatest party of all time. And but you got to get past the velvet rope, and it's the late great Tiny Lister, aka Debo, who's running that, and he decides who gets there. But you got to get up to that top floor. Elevator up is super easy because there's like five people of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Congratulations, Tampa Bay.
Yes. Good job on the repeat.
Yeah. So there's so many obvious ones you can go with who I think are already Hall of Famers. Steven Stamkos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, who is not their best player anymore, but he has been their captain since 2014. And when does a captain of an NHL team that went back-to-back not go to the Hall of Fame? It doesn't happen.
No,
Which also means the same for Nikita Kucherov, who's the best player.
Oh, Nikita, don't get me started on him.
Okay.
My rant for this would be the NHL GMs. Now, you have this rule, this thing you can do called offer sheets on restricted free agents. Now, back in probably 2016, 2017, and probably currently, Tampa Bay is up against the salary cap. Mm-hmm. So I think 2016, 2017, Yzerman had to do something with Kucherov. Nobody offer sheeted him. Nobody. I mean, you could have gave him $9 million over X amount of years. It would have cost you a bunch of 1s, 2s, and 3s, and you would have had Kucherov. Or you would have forced Tampa Bay to make a hard decision. Do we sign him to that offer sheet and have difficulties with the cap? Well, no one offer sheeted him, and Kucherov got a great deal for the Tampa Bay Lightning to fit everything underneath the salary cap. So fast forward, Tampa Bay's good year after year after year after year, and it's due to the GMs. They do not know how to play cutthroat with the rules they have on the books, which shouldn't be a surprise because we're talking about the NHL here and rules that just don't make any sense whatsoever. Okay, so let's fast forward to this year. Kucherov, hip surgery in December. Is he going to be ready for the postseason? We don't know, but he's off the books for the whole season, saving them from salary cap hell. Is he going to be able to? We don't know. Let's play him in the first series. Let's see what happens. And my God, he is lights out. So you mean to tell me that Kucherov couldn't have come back a month earlier to play in the regular season? He probably could have, but why didn't he? They would have had to do something with the salary cap. So again, NHL and their rules. So yeah, that's my rant on not so much Kucherov because he's great. Yeah. I love watching him. If you saw that press conference last night, I laughed my ass off when he's just slamming into the Montreal Canadiens fans. My fandom for him just got elevated this much. But my rant is against the NHL, the rules, and the GMs this is supposed to be a competitive league. You're trying to win, and you're not taking advantage of rules. End of rant.
Yeah, and to what you said, Kucherov, what he basically said is where he was dumping on the Habs fans who, I'm paraphrasing, he was commenting how when Montreal won Game 4, they acted like they won the whole thing. And yes, realistically, your finals was the last one because you really had no chance.
Right. And props to Kucherov. I don't know what the time frame was where they were given the cup, got into the locker room, and he gets into the press conference, but he was sufficiently inebriated. Then mad props to him. The man can drink.
Big
amazing.
Huh?
What's that?
We're not known for that, Russians.
Well, he didn't have a bottle of vodka, so I don't know what he was accelerating himself on.
I maintain that the drunkest person in Russia is the guy who lost to Bruce Jenner in the '76 Olympics, because
after Bruce became Caitlyn.
After, because I mean, like it's just like as Bruce was morphing into Caitlyn, and this is more of a comment on Russia's view.
Russia's mentality, absolutely. He's sitting there with his bottle of vodka. I lost to this guy. Wait, girl. I lost to it.
Oh, and all his friends are probably like, yeah, maybe I didn't compete in the Olympics, but I didn't lose to this or whatever the fuck is. That's what.
I never thought of it that way, but thank you.
Yeah, we make fun of the people we love the most.
Absolutely.
But internally, the person who we've made fun of is really hiding it all in, and Russians don't talk about their feelings. And anyway, another Russian elevator up is our goalie.
Yeah, yes.
I'm blanking on his name. Andre Kira.
Come on, see, this is why we need
Andre
show notes.
Communist. Andre Vasilevsky.
There you go.
I don't know why I couldn't remember that. And that might be also why Kucherov said, like, if Vasilevsky was in any other market, he would have 4 Vezinas. He's got 1. Vasilevsky has won the...
And his press conference was bleeped quite a bit.
Wow. Good. I mean, I've also said that the most boring thing ever isn't watching hockey. It's listening to a hockey player.
He was he was inebriated. So
he's also Russian. They don't go to the same sort of...
This is true. This is true. I mean, Ovechkin's press conferences are usually interesting.
Ovechkin is a character. I love Ovi. Didn't always, but he's become far more of a team player than I ever thought he would. But so we've got now a goalie who is the 5th person, I didn't realize this, to ever lead the league in goalie wins 4 years in a row.
That's crazy.
This guy... we're probably looking at a team with 3 first ballot Hall of Famers.
And probably a couple more cups.
Very well could be. And I have 2 other people that I think should really get looked at. John Cooper.
How many?
He's the most tenured coach now in hockey. He's not even 55.
No, and back-to-back cup coaches in the Hall of Fame. That's got to be a pretty good group.
Absolutely. And look at the ones he did this. I mean, the COVID year, Jesus, how hard is that to keep people motivated? This is
what's sure, especially during the bubble. Mm-hmm. I mean, insane.
Yeah, and then that leads me to the 5th guy with an elevator up. Usually I only have one, but Julian Brisebois, younger than me, 44, the current GM of Tampa Bay since only 2018.
Right. Now, picked up where Yzerman left off.
Yeah, usually we see what happens here. Prediction, he's going to be a GM of some other team somewhere else where he's going to, maybe Chicago. I don't know. I'm just thinking like a team like Chicago.
Like a big market where you blank check and you can resources for in the minor leagues, at the big clubs, scouting, and all the tools at your disposal where you can just put something together. As opposed to Buffalo, who slashed their scouting department a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that always works out well.
Yeah, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh God. So yeah, I have 5 elevator ups, and I think Stamkos, he's already there. He already sees Debo. He's ready, and it's going to be really good. And again, congratulations to this team. Well earned. Had to go through a bit of adversity with the Islanders, but this is a phenomenal team, and we're really lucky to be able to watch this. I hope the people of Tampa Bay really understand what they have. I don't know. I mean,
you hope.
Well, hockey's grown so much in the southern United States, except for Georgia.
Carolina. I think Carolina still caters to half empty stadium when they are winning.
I thought they were doing reasonably well.
As far as attendance, I'm not sure.
I mean, yeah. Well, I guess we'll have to get a better idea next year as things progress. Now, my elevator down. Actually, I'm going to save elevator down. The second part of this show is just going to be a downer because we're going to talk about one person whose chances just went to shit, and then a bunch of dead people. So, because we do with the death rattle. You have a baseline for me?
Boom, 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 boom.
Well, here, dude.
Okay, we got to stop now. Otherwise, we got to pay for the song.
Yeah. I was going to do a Freddie Mercury joke, but I'm not going to.
You could. Go ahead. No reason to censor yourself. We don't have a sponsorship yet.
No, not yet. Not yet. Once I get canceled, that means I'm worth canceling. So I guess there's that.
That's right.
There's not been a whole lot of people. We always look at those who passed away in the world of sports and music of the past week. And luckily, there's not a lot of big names. So we start off with Ted Nash, age 88, died at 88. He was an Olympic gold medalist in rowing in 1960, and then won bronze in 64 at the Tokyo Games. Whoever watched him do that will be more than whoever's watching the Coxless 4 this time. Because there won't be anybody.
You just wanted to say Coxel, didn't you?
I did. Eddie Payne, college basketball coach, 484 wins. Biggest thing was taking East Carolina to a tournament. For bass player of the Mahavishnu Orchestra, excellent jazz fusion band, Rick Laird left us at age 80. One of the bigger names, Terry Donahue, College Football Hall of Fame inductee. 151 wins, 4-time champion of the Pac-10, 3-time Rose Bowl winner. So we lost him.
Was he the Pac-12 winningest football coach? UCLA and Pac-12 winningest football coach?
I don't know.
Okay. But all of them well-lived, long lives.
Absolutely. Jillian Sheen, she won the 1956 in fencing in the foil.
Fencing?
In fencing, yeah. The Helsinki, yes. 56. Oh my God. Which then puts this one sort of in, because we lost someone, a silver medalist in 4x400 from Cuba, from 92. So
Yeah, that's young.
Yeah, Roberto Hernandez, age 54, died of cardiorespiratory. It didn't say much more than that. So I don't really know what more it would be. Which goes to show you, don't exercise. You live just as
no, don't listen. You have to exercise.
Okay.
We don't know what he did after his competing days.
That's also true. Robert Downey Sr.
I don't think I'd be able to pick him out of a crowd.
He was in one of my all-time favorite movies, Boogie Nights.
Who was he?
He played the guy who owned not the record company, but I guess the studio.
Okay.
Where Dirk and Reed, they were saying, but like, have you listened to stuff that's so good? And he needed his money to release that. Well, that's what we call a YP. That's it.
I'll have to go back and check that out. Because obviously we all know about Robert Downey Jr.
Yes. So yeah, Robert Downey Sr. And Richard Donner. I didn't realize he was this old. Age 91. Great director of just a lot of good pop culture movies of the 80s and 90s. All four Lethal Weapons, Superman, Goonies.
Goonies. Yeah.
I didn't know that he did Scrooged.
He did Scrooged?
Yeah, I had no idea.
Oh, classic movie.
Yeah, one of my favorite all-time Christmas films. And
right up there with Die Hard.
Yes. I maintain Die Hard and Fast Times at Ridgemont High as a Christmas film.
I'll give you Die Hard.
I mean, I gave you Die Hard. I said,
well, no, yeah, absolutely, Die Hard, Christmas movie.
Yeah. And I guess this is the one that got the most attention in our world. Not that he was a successful player in the NHL, but he was only 24, so we very well
could him. And from a goalie standpoint, you're not at your prime at 24, so we won't know.
Right. So from Latvian goalie Matiska Kavaleneks. Sorry, I apologize for getting that wrong. Fireworks accidents.
I mean, this is just a PSA waiting to happen on why you should probably be a little bit more careful with home done fireworks.
So that one is the only one that really sort of, I don't say got to me, but it just bothers me when people die this young. When there's
that young and preventable too. I mean, young and you know it was probably at a party, probably a shit ton of alcohol. And said inebriated person blowing off fireworks.
Yeah.
And that's why he's not here.
And that's, I mean,
and again, we've all been young and stupid, but
I mean, I'm middle-aged and I'm drunk most of my life, but I never do anything stupid other than maybe do a show. I just pass out on my couch. And that's
with it still recording.
Done that. Editing afterwards is not as much fun, but it's at age 24. I mean, maybe we shouldn't assume that he was drunk, but it was 4th of July.
No, I mean, he wasn't, but whoever was shooting the fireworks or any people at the party, I mean, evidently he was in the hot tub, and the initial reports were him scrambling to get out of the hot tub, slipped, and a head injury.
Oh.
And then later on, when the autopsy came back, it was trauma to the chest. And it hadn't been clear whether that was a firework to a chest or what happened to with a trauma to the chest that caused him to pass away. So there's something going on there that no one's talking about.
And life is so perilous. You just don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next.
No, I mean, he's at a party in a hot tub, having a good time on the 4th of July.
Yeah. And there was so much more that he could have possibly done. So that's sort of that is I think the bigger name, even though it's not the biggest name, but because of
got a lot of publicity.
Yeah, absolutely. So then I'll go back to Elevator Down. I guess this is where I'm going to close this on a downer, but I think an interesting conversation to have. My elevator down is Sha'Carri Richardson. And when I say for a Hall of Fame, I don't rank those for track and field and whatnot, but you and I are part of a big group that's another blatant self-promotion. The United States Athletic Hall of Fame. No one's ever done it, so we did. And it's for the people, by the people. You can go vote on it, www.notinhalloffame.com. USA. Now, Sha'Carri was a possible favorite for the 100 meter, and she got suspended for marijuana use in a test, like at the trials. Was it from the trials, I think? Or was it from? I know sometimes he's
He
taken.
got tested, and then the tests came back. I don't know if they came back in time for the trials. But by the time the trials were all done, she had qualified for her events and then got caught with the THC in her system.
And other than Gwen Berry, she was getting the most attention.
Mm-hmm.
And why not? I mean, she's flashy, she's cute.
It's a great story.
Great story. She's got a personality for days. I don't know how you look at Sha'Carri and say, I don't want to cheer for this woman. I don't know how that's possible. But she will not be at the Olympics. This is one thing I don't quite understand, and maybe you might know this better than I. She was not suspended by the United States, or was she suspended by the commission in general?
WADA, I believe WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency, handles all the international Olympic stuff. And they have a whole list of banned substances. WADA and USADA, U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, they kind of go hand in hand because they're the anti-doping agencies. Obviously in America, a big sports country, and then WADA in charge of the whole world when you're talking about international competition. And they have a list of banned substances. Athletes should know about them. And
she did.
Yes, and I mean, in the end, the athlete's responsible about knowing what they're being given, either injecting themselves or taking from coaches, doctors, or whatever. And that's been the controversy involved, where I'm getting this from a doctor, I'm getting this from my trainer, I'm getting this from my coach. And in the end, it's on the athletes. I mean, it comes down to trusting people, and you're hoping that they have your best interests at heart. In general, that's what happens. In this case, we're talking about marijuana.
And the reason I have her as elevator down is, yes, she's only 21. The next Olympics will be 3 years from now, but we just talked about a 24-year-old.
Right.
With us. Things happen. ACLs go out. People have missed the Olympics for injuries over and over and over again. This is also one of those unifying things I've noticed. I follow a lot of people on social media from both sides of the political spectrum. I like learning more about what people think, whether it's far right, far left, not alt right or alt left, but and everywhere in between. I don't find anyone who thinks that Sha'Carri shouldn't be competing. Most people think that she should be.
Right.
So when some people saying, well, look, the conservatives are laughing. Well, they're not. If they are, please tell me I'm wrong and point some out, but I didn't find any. The idea of what marijuana is certainly a lot different than it was. 18 states currently it's legal. In Canada, it's legal. It just got legalized in Barbados, believe it or not. Canada had was ahead of that curve. And we're not talking about a performance enhancer. We are talking about something that people just do. It's booze.
Yeah, it's a banned substance because of all the negative connotations it's had in its entire history.
So some people have said, well, this is a racist thing. Okay, in its root, maybe, I don't know, but God damn it, most people I know who are potheads are white. That's been my experience.
Yeah.
And I've got a pretty eclectic group of friends. So it's not that I just hang around with white people. I don't. So that's been my thing now. It's just, this is an outdated rule, not necessarily designed to pick on anyone. I said before we went on that I get, Evan and I wind up talking about race so much. And sometimes we bring up a lot of things that we find colossally racist. And sometimes we point out things that people say are racist that aren't. So to those in the US are saying, see how, look, they're picking on Gwen, they're picking on this, they're picking on a few other things. They don't want black people in the Olympics. You think the United States doesn't want black people in the Olympics who have pretty much carried them?
Yeah, look at our Summer Olympic roster, and yeah, that argument holds absolutely no water whatsoever.
Like, that didn't even hold water in Jim Crow.
No, you're right. I mean, going back to the Jesse Owens days.
It didn't. It didn't. I mean, like, because like that's the United States. No, they're not alone in this. China, the Soviet Union, now Russia, or now sorry, the unaffiliated, the Olympic athletes from Russia.
Yeah, I don't get how that's possible.
Well,
How they're just, that's a whole other soapbox.
Well, it is. It is. So I mean, that's one thing where I just, it drives me up the wall, where we're looking at and I get why we're now in this weird place where everything's on a racial lens, but let's just call things for what they are. The United States has a racist history and a racist present. So does Canada, as I discussed earlier. But if you're going to say that that everything is, like, let's just look at a past history.
Yeah, and I mean, right now during our period, I think we're just getting a little too woke, to use the kids' terms. I mean, it was about a month ago, and I can't remember who put it out, but Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I know where you're going with this.
In the Heights and Hamilton and all that other stuff. Came out with the movie In the Heights. Someone said that his cast wasn't diverse enough.
Didn't have enough Afro-Latinas.
So I pull it up and I'm looking at you online. I'm looking, you can't get a more diverse cast. And I mean, this is the guy who turned the founding fathers into people of color. Mm-hmm. And someone's calling Lin-Manuel Miranda out for this reason. And he puts out an apology.
Well, of course.
And that just blows my mind. That's when we have, I mean, I'm a liberal, libertarian, borderline Democrat, but even I think this is too far left. And we've crossed a line to where we gotta get some common sense back into our everyday life.
Right. And that's sort of like where I look at this as, just from a point of logic. I will sort of take a giant shit on the US Olympic team or the people behind that. Because they did what was it? Her suspension got dropped from 90 days to 30 days, which would have allowed her to compete in the relay.
And they left her off the team.
Now that one, explain that one to me.
I don't know. I mean,
that one I can't.
Now that ban was from U.S. Olympic Committee, correct? That wasn't from WADA.
Yes. Because
so, and it's funny because we were discussing this into a yet to air episode of the Classic Sports Review with Chris Huffins and the whole Jesse Owens and his wink, wink, nod, nod possible drug issues, which we might get back to it at another time. But yeah, I mean, U.S. Olympic Committee, I mean, this is probably the least, what's the word I'm looking for? The least controversial drug situation that they had to deal with.
It really is, and it's not
because
like
it's not performance enhancing. It's not used to accelerate the healing of an injury. No.
Although, what's his name? Emmanuel Aco?
Okay.
He went on and said how this is a performance enhancer in a way because it helps relieve your stress. Bring up to that, so you might perform better. Like, really?
I guess if you're gonna grasp at straws. But again, I mean, it's not like they're hitting the bong right before they get into the starting blocks.
Even if they were, who cares? But I will say this: I was cheering for her before all this happened. I'm cheering for her more now because,
yes,
holy crap! I mean, how do you handle it any better than she did?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The grace that was involved with her not going off on WADA and the U.S. Olympic Committee, I mean, which would have been within her rights.
Most people supported her.
Yeah,
supported her.
But she did good. She did very good.
I wish her so much for the best. I hope that she is healthy, drug-free. I'm putting in air quotes for those listening because or maybe by then they'll sort of pass through that. And I want her to kick ass. I
Oh,
want
absolutely.
so in the next 2-3 Olympics, if possible. We'll close with, for those saying, well, Michael Phelps didn't miss an Olympics. Okay, Michael Phelps never tested positive. Michael Phelps did serve a 90-day suspension based on a picture.
Right.
So it just didn't time with the Olympics. That's it. That's all. So for those saying there's a double standard, no, there's not.
No, there isn't. Just WADA has to catch up with the times.
Exactly. And Phelps actually did do again, Phelps did a 90-day penalty for something that he was never, well, he never tested positive for, did on his own time. Who gives a shit? Realistically.
Yeah, it's and there are many. I mean, there are a lot of I'm not going to say innocent athletes, but just the ridiculousness that they have to go through to adhere, and a lot of it is getting permission to use substances because of their current state of health or fitness, and getting doctor's approval and having to wait periods of time to get treatment for a genuine health condition, and just have to be slaves to the World Anti-Doping Agency to get their approval versus what a doctor is saying, no, this athlete needs this for their healthy life, which is just mind-boggling.
Now, the one thing, though, that has come up in regards to racing sports recently is, and this might be, I don't know if you ever use one when you're a triathlete, when you're doing the swimming leg. Do you wear a swim cap?
Oh, yeah, the British, yeah, we have to wear swim caps.
Okay,
I saw that.
Okay, so like they've have some for, I guess, for certain afro textures hair or just really big hair. I'm no swim expert by any stretch of the imagination. The only thing I can think of why they would have an issue with that is, I guess, when you're swimming, if it's more of a cone shape, doesn't that help?
You know, I didn't specifically see what the cap looks like.
So I'm just trying to think of this.
Or what material it's made from, but I think I read something where they're trying to get approval and it looks like it may happen.
Okay.
And this may have just been an oversight, but yeah, that's just ridiculous.
I'm thinking that, but the only thing I can think of is, why would they have an issue with that now? Is it racist, or are they trying to use some kind of physics? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make that much.
First off, wearing swim caps suck. I hate wearing them. We have to wear them because we're open water and it helps visibility to keep an eye on the swimmers, just in case if you see a swim cap go down and you don't see it come up. But yeah, I mean, and yeah, it does hair resistance as opposed to having to shave your head. So if you want to keep your head of hair. But from the African American hair standpoint, I mean, I have regular thin white boy hair. And I got my hair cut this week because I knew I was going to have a swim cap on. Now, I can't imagine what the comfort level is for someone who has the African American hair, just because how much thicker it is. And I don't like the swim caps, and I can't imagine what their comfort level is. So if a company can come out with a cap designed to help their comfort level, yeah, by all means, because it's just not comfortable.
As long as it's not sort of giving, I guess, an aerodynamic advantage. I mean,
well, I don't think it was a rigid. I don't think it was a rigid cap. I think it was just a fabric that would mold around the hair and not stress it out as much. And again, the article that I read didn't go into detail about the design, but I do remember reading that they're going for approval and they'll probably get it.
I read as I was sort of working on the bios for all the people in the U.S. For our U.S. Hall. So one of the nominees is Mark Spitz, who had this glorious 70s mustache. And he told people that he had it because he that it would actually sort of spread the water. Which he said it was completely lying, but he said a pile of people grew mustaches. Now, granted, that might have happened in the 70s anyway.
He looked good doing what he was doing.
There's just something about it. Some people need a mustache. Mark Spitz, Tom Selleck. That might be the end of the list.
Legendary mustaches.
Yes, that might be it.
I know Groucho Marx.
Yeah, I guess. I never got into the Marx Brothers. Never found them.
I was a Stooge fan as opposed to the
Mhm.
Marx Brother. I didn't find them as funny as the Three Stooges. But then again, that was all physical, stupid comedy that just cracks me up.
Well, this pretty much brings us to an end. So more blatant self-promotion. Recording next week is going to be episode 2 of This Crap Was on National Television, where Chris Bournet and we look at Pink Lady and Jeff. Want to guess at what that was?
Pink Lady and Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
I've never even heard of it.
Well, it's terrible. In 1980, NBC got an idea because they saw a show on Walter Cronkite about Pink Lady, a Japanese girl duo who was selling out baseball stadiums in Japan. So we thought, let's build a variety show around these 2 Japanese women because they were big in Japan. Unfortunately, they didn't speak English, didn't understand anything. And they put him in a variety show with a guy named Jeff Altman, a struggling comedian who remains struggling. I only remember him a lot because he was on the old Letterman show like 39 times or something like that, because he was one of Letterman's best friends, but he just never really made it. So yeah, that's what you want to have. So yes, a variety show full of all sorts of offensive Asian stereotypes.
Did you find a link to that show?
I found a link to all 6 episodes.
You need to forward that to me.
Yeah, for sure.
I got some free time.
Yeah, and yeah, it also features special guest Sherman Helmsley
from Jefferson's, right?
Absolutely.
6 episodes, huh?
Yeah, it lasted 6 full episodes. Apparently, the producers never. They told the writers, "Oh yeah, they speak English." They didn't. So, yeah.
Oh boy.
I hope they got paid a lot. Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know how you get them to come over without giving them money.
Just the title, Pink Lady and Jeff.
Pink Lady and Jeff. I mean, that could be a very interesting movie title.
Yeah,
I'm preparing for when we get a sponsor, so I just didn't blurt out the first thing that came to my mind.
That's not even a good porn parody name.
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go.
All right, I think on that we'll close.
Good idea.
All right, stay safe, everybody.
All right, thank you.